blade, and I cut it out, and then I just made duplicates of that half of the knife. So I ended up with 4 pieces of separate cardboard. And what I did, you can kind of see the edge here. I mean, you can kind of see the edge here. So these are actually 4 lengths of cardboard that I pressed and super glued onto a dowel. And what I did was I actually glued them at a bit of an angle. Oh, sorry about that. Let me fix it. Don't know if that's too soft, but I'll try to find a happy medium. Hi, Rhiannon. So the idea is that I glued them at a bit of an angle so that there's more of a heft to the blade. Oh, thank you. It's... I want to say hematite, but I don't think that's what it is. It's Countless Heroes inspired. How's that, Jesse? But one specific thing that I did for this knife is I cut a curve down the side of the blade pieces. So when I put them together, you end up with this little channel down the center. It's not as good on this one as it is on this one. I'll probably have to carve that one a little bit to make it work. So yeah, the idea being that there's a bit of a blade channel, if you've ever seen like swords and stuff, where it's like, I want the blood to seep out, knock it all over my blade, kind of thing. So we should be back. Okay. So, frickin' Dolo. God. He needs to not be here. He needs to go away. What I was trying to say was, while I'm here, I can try to fix this, this channel a little bit. So I am gonna, very gently, with an X-Acto knife, you gotta be careful. So one of the things I was working on here, I might as well talk a little bit while I'm doing this, because that won't be distracting. Is this white clay that has permeated, or is now coating the dagger, is cheap, alternative, not cheap. I used what I had around the house. You know, you do what you can. And I ended up using some filler for nail holes. So some spackling stuff. It goes on purple and dries white so that you can make sure you're covering things. I just think it looks fun. But I find that with a little water, it comes out pretty good. I've used it for a couple of projects now. Oh no. It's okay. I'll fill it in later. All good. But it's really chalky and easy to carve while it's dry, and has in the past proven to be a fairly good filler for working on this stuff before I paint it. Probably should just start using clay, but I'm stubborn, so we'll see if I actually start that. Anyway, so I'm going to work on this for a little bit, clearing this out, just trying to make a bit more of an obvious channel for the dagger. Look a little more like this side. It's just not quite doing it for me yet. Oh, there we go. Alright, and then I can fix that with some clay. Okay, I can smooth that out a little bit. So this is mostly a kind of improvisational prop, But as I said, it's a prototype because my main goal eventually is to make a Witcher sword. So I am very excited to get to that. But this was so I could see if actually the process was going to work for building it. So here's the nail filler. It comes out pink. And then I wet my finger and I used the water to easily smear it where I need it and smooth out the texture. Just covering up the duct tape that I was using to originally hold this all together. And hopefully that will fill in decently. Also noting that I do still have a little bit of duct tape causing a problem. So I'm gonna try to excise that a little bit. So yeah, I got a little bit of duct tape. Just trying to some of the pieces that stick out too much out of the blade. I don't want to put a bit of pressure on it without having it on something to back it up. Okay, so that got rid of some of that, and then I'm gonna grab a little bit more of the spackle stuff. Sorry, bumping the table. And I am going to try to go over that a little bit with some more clay. I'm just gonna call it clay as a shorthand because that's what I'm using it as. So yeah, and what'll happen when I'm done here is I'm gonna let this dry. Unfortunately, this particular project involves a lot of waiting and a lot of letting things dry before you can move on to the next step. Oh no, the pink. But I will try my best to get to the second step I was going to do today. I usually have to wait a few hours for the spackle to dry. The song is not being consistently quiet. I will have to set a noise ceiling. Yeah, that was one of the louder pieces. Alright, so that's about as good as we're going to get on the blade on this side right now. And I don't want to keep working on the other side because I do have to let the thing rest and dry. What's nice is that I can visually see when it's dry because the pink will turn to white. But what do I have? I need something that is not an X-Acto knife. I need something a little bit more forgiving. Finger will do. That's fine. Excuse me. Oh, I also have a bunch of popsicle sticks. That might work. So, one of the things I want to work on is some of the filling in on the handle. So if you can see, the handle is a little thicker than the hand guard. So I'm trying to thicken up the hand guard a little bit, give it a bit more oomph to it so that that transition is a bit smoother. And I have a bit more to play with when I want to carve into the handle, because I do have plans for making the handle look all pretty. Yeah, I'm just putting clay where I can. And I'm gonna let that dry, and then what I'll end up doing is I'll sand it down to get the shape I need. But the more the merrier right now when it comes to what's actually on it, because I can always pare down. It's like writing. Overwrite and then edit later. And so I am working on building up this stuff for the handle. This is actually really useful visually for you guys, because you can actually see what I'm doing with the pink. And then there's this triangle that's going to be here that I'm continuing to try to build out for this sort of cross guard that would go in the transition space from pommel? No, hand guard to handle. I need to learn blade terms. I don't know much. But, yeah. Good, I figured you would enjoy the spackle color, Jesse. You like pink. I'm glad. So yeah, this is just it's kind of what I've been doing lately. I'm working on, like I said, I'm working on a sword design. I have the design, actually, for my Witcher character that I cosplay as. And I'm excited to set up her short sword that I'm working on. This is not quite even. What's beautiful is I can just add more clay. It's totally fine, and no one has to know that it started uneven. Just trying to estimate. I didn't do the whole measure twice thing here, which I probably should have. But that's okay. Since I've been here, you can see that the tip of the blade has actually gone less pink. It's actually getting a little dry already. You guys can watch that happening in real time. So yeah, it's gonna be rough for now, and I'm okay with that. As with drafts of anything, be okay with it being crappy, because eventually you can fix it. Ideally, you want it a little decent the first time, so you have a good baseline to work with, but you gotta be okay with it being crap. Because once it's crap, it exists. You can always make crap better. Lesson time. Alright, just because I over-edit, I'm gonna add some more to the blade. Just to make sure we've got plenty of material to work with as we get to the sanding phase, probably tomorrow. Ah, too much. Too much. Yeah, I really want to get this crossguard filled out though, so it's okay if there's too much. I desperately need there to be plenty of space here so that my handle doesn't look like garbage. I am eventually, so the plan here is I'm going to get this thing molded out, sculpted, and once I'm done sculpting, I will spray paint it. I have a couple of metallic colors. I have a hammered metal that I love, that I'm very excited to play with. Oh, that's kind of cool. Let's do that. It's getting a little inspired. So now I've got sort of like a two-tiered triangle thing going. That's kind of cool. I like it. I like it. He likes it. Wow. It's a little old for a lot of people. A reference. But anyway, I'm gonna do that. Alright, so the idea now that we have this sort of double triangle thing going on here, you got one right here where the handle actually meets the blade, and you have one where the crossguard meets the blade, and then another where the handle meets the crossguard. I'm gonna have to do that on the other side too. This is gonna be a little heavy. For a dagger, I'm sure it's not going to be super well balanced, but do what we can, right? Alright, so I'm going to let that get a little dry. I'm going to talk a little bit about some of the other stuff I have. Some hand sanitizer to get some of the clay off me, and a paper towel. If anyone wants to see how serious I am about project work, I just bought a thing that ruined my thing. Anyway, so over the next few minutes, we're going to be fixing what I just smashed with my finger. It's very important that you understand that things break and that you fuck things up all the time. Oh, wow. That was an adventure. Anyway, let's try that again. Put some clay into the thing. I was trying to show you that I bought a gallon of glue. Like Elmer's, basically. It's like off-brand Elmer's. The intention of making, like, paper mache with it. That's the intent. Good enough. Good. Good enough of a fix. I'm gonna check where you are right now. Anyway, okay. So I'm here. Hi, I'm back. All right, so what I wanted to talk about a little bit. So I have a bunch of crap around my house, and one of the things I had were these boxes that I'm turning into dice trays. But they have these little keys that were on them. They were like Valentine's Day boxes. They said, like, you have the key to my heart. So I broke them. But then realized that there were some really cool shapes out of these pieces. And I really liked the ends of the keys. So what I'm probably going to do is use the ends of the keys as kind of designs. They will probably get painted gold again. But, hold on. Should still be up. Can you guys hear me okay? Oh, you guys just joking about the keys? Because, yeah. All the things are getting smashed. Okay, great. Alright, so I have all these key endings, and I want to put them on the ends of the handles, like as a sort of ornate designing on either side. So I'm going to hold on to these. These will eventually get glued onto here with some super glue or something. And then, the one nice, like, actual legitimate piece that I'm going to work on is I have all these leather straps that I bought in bulk at, I think it was a hobby store. So there's just these strips of, like, extraneous leather that somebody, you know, sold in bulk. And what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to do, like, a curled wrap around the handle to make, like, a really nice, dark leather handle. It's going to be cool. I'm excited about that part. It's going to be at that, like, sort of angle where it's kind of swirling down. And then I happen to have this little... This is probably a mistake. But I have this handle, this little, like, it's like a heavy metal cabinet knob, and that's gonna get glued onto the bottom, so you have a fun little pommel for the bottom of the handle. So this is gonna look really cool. It's gonna be a little on the heavy side, so I need to be careful. I can't throw this around. This is not a throwing knife. This is definitely a wield it like a sword sort of knife. The idea, though, is that when I get this sorted out, make it look all nice, I'm going to be upgrading to a sword eventually. I want to make a short sword, which is going to probably be about twice as big as this. But it's going to have a similar technique. I'll hopefully be better at this by the time I make the sword. But yeah, so we're working on that right now. I see the two triangles. You can see them a little clearer now in the light. And I'm going to do the same to the other side. Right now it doesn't look as nice. So yeah, I'm working on that. I'm going to be modifying this design that I had for the template quite a bit. I don't think that's what the handle's going to look like. But I needed this as just sort of a baseline. it's a mix of designing and planning out and executing what you designed, but then also being willing to adjust based on what the medium does when you start trying to use it. Because I tried to cut into this sort of spiky top thing, and this is very, like, I didn't think about this right, and I tried to break it with X-Acto knives, and then I tried to break it with scissors, and then it would start cracking. So the stuff I managed to get out of my popsicle sticks, I just used that shape, and then I'm gonna fill it out with the sealant stuff and the nail stuff. I have to really stop touching things. I keep fiddling. And do you have a problem with that? Learning when to stop touching it? Like, let it set. Even though it was sort of sinking and I was trying to fix something. I don't know. It just feels like I always have that problem. Where I want to keep fiddling with the craft. And it really needs to just be left alone for a bit. So yeah, so I'm working on that. That is definitely one of my prized projects. I don't think I have it on me. I made one of the other things I made was a very large, it is, it's nail spackle. Because I happen to have this around. I didn't have any clay to work with. But then I bought some oven bake, but I don't want to bake this because it's mostly cardboard. Eventually I will work on doing something with the actually I'm planning on making a custom pommel for my Witcher sword with the oven baked clay. I don't know how heavy it's going to be. I assume it'll be lighter than this metal knob that I'm going to put at the bottom of the knife. But yeah. So this will be, I think this will be pretty cool. The idea is the reason that the sword, at first I was pretty at peace with the idea of not having a sword, partly because I didn't have one, and then I was like, oh well, maybe she doesn't use one, my Witcher character, and from a world building perspective I was okay with that. That doesn't necessarily have, maybe she does mostly magic stuff. She doesn't do as much sword play as some of the other Witchers. But then we're making a dagger to test the concept and process so I can eventually make a sword. I wanted to try making this cardboard blade. I'd never done that before. I'd never made a cardboard weapon before, and so I wanted to try it out in a small form before I attempted to make a larger one. And you can tell I'm using The Essential Guide to Becoming a Wine Expert. It's a big cardboard book as my base for carving things, because I don't care if I scratch it up. So I was working on this idea of having a not using swords, and then I came up with a story idea that I was really excited about to do some videos for. The idea that she lost her swords. She had I don't know how familiar you guys are with the Witcher mythos. She's a monster hunter, and the idea that she lost her swords because she was working with some guy and some mortal human dude, and she got crap beaten out of her by a monster, and she was sort of left stranded by this cowardly guy who ran off after the monster attack and took her swords with him. Presumably out of, like, protection. Oh god, I'm gonna die if I don't. This person's dead, I might as well take their swords. And then, so when she recovered and sort of got back to work, she found she didn't have her swords. And this guy apparently had transitioned from I'm scared to the lying machismo of, oh, well, you know, I bested a Witcher and took her swords. So I'm gonna do a whole video series on TikTok, like a little sort of mini series about her finding out that this guy's still around and recovering her swords that she lost. It's like I have a lot of ideas of kind of utilizing Sweeney Todd audio a little bit for it, like my arm is complete again kind of stuff when she gets her swords back. But with that in mind, I wanted to be able to make something that looked good for her swords. So yeah, that's what I'm working on. That's the whole reason I'm doing these, is that I had this idea that I wanted to make. I've been doing a little bit of crafting. I have a couple of projects that I'm working on for some different videos that I'm making. One is the weaponry, but then I'm also I made a I made a very large. Where is it? I put it over there. I made a very large nail, like a tool, like a hammer nail, for a character that is sort of like a borrower, like a really tiny person that utilizes mundane objects from the house they live around. And so I have this little nail that is actually about 2 feet long, like 3 feet long. It's like a flathead on it and stuff. It looks really cute. And I'm making a giant Lego, which will be fun. No, not giant, but about this big. Making a Lego, and then I'm also making a helmet that looks like a walnut for him. he armed himself upon he got shrunk to that size. He's not originally that size, so he's just kind of making do. So I'm very excited about those pieces. Do what you can. Crafting's been fun, and I can display the pieces when I'm done with them. So I'm excited to keep working on them. Yeah, he's delightful. I very much enjoy him. So I don't know why I'm not using my fan. I should do that. That might help. Hold on 1 second. Forgive the noise. Or lack of noise. Okay, so there might be a slight louder hum right now because I put my fan up on the table. The idea being that I think it will help. One, it'll keep me cooler, but two, it'll help the clay dry a little bit more. So yeah, because we have a little time. I really do want to give you guys a full hour, even though I know we started a little late. Sorry about that. So yeah, so I'm working on getting this sucker dried out. And I have a whole bunch of clay or cardboard and stuff that I've been collecting. Not sure what I was going to do with it yet, so this is good that I'm actually getting some stuff done. Oh, goodness. The Leaning Tower of East. That's awesome, and I love your landscape props. They're so cool. Yeah, I can't really reach anything right now that I want to work on. Let me see. So yeah, I've been working on my craft space. It's not completely clean, but it's at least all in bins, which is way more than I could say about a few months ago. So yeah, well, let me see. Because this is sort of a phase right now, but I guess I could hold it and work. Sure, I'll just hold it and work on the other side, because I need to fix this channel anyway. So I'm going to take some of the spackle and essentially do what it was meant for. Spackle. But yeah, I have to wet my finger to get it to work well. And just smear it around. Smear, smear, smear. And then I'm gonna find where the channel is. I think it's right here. And build up the blade a little bit so that the channel's a little deeper. This is basically a short sword, goodness. You should really realize the scale of some of this weaponry when you start thinking about fantasy weapons and stuff, what it actually entails. It's kind of robust for the small size of blades. Not something you could hide, obviously. It's far more something you were going to have to intimidate somebody. I won't say anything. I won't say anything. And you have my word. I can keep DM secrets. It is a secret cabal run by honor and improvisational bullshit. The great DM cabal. So yeah, that's actually pretty good. I'm willing to let that exist as it is. It's not too bad. I'm supposed to know I assume you just ended up at building for that info. Alright, so we're adding a whole mess more of this clay in an effort to build out the base. I need to be able to put that leather on the handle. And to do that, I need to have more handle. Alright. I actually really like the, I'd expressed this before, I really like the idea of operating and working with it in pink. And then I can tell visually when it's done. Because it changes to white, and then I go, oh yeah, I can tell that side's done. As opposed to having to touch it and figure it out, and then, you know, because you've seen here, I'm not even trying to touch things, and I still manage to touch and smudge. So, it's nice to have a visual cue. Just throw them all in, Anne. Just all of the dice. You know? Don't let the rules limit your building. Your building can be whatever it wants to be. It's a grown-ass building. Whatever it sets its mind to. If you dream it, you can be it. Just want to be a D12? Sure gets good grades in school, and it can be a D12. I have lost my train of thought and possibly my mind. Can you tell? Yeah, when it's all done, yeah, it's really rough right now. So I'm definitely gonna put a sander to it, or some sandpaper. Yeah, because there's a lot of edges that I need to clean up. So that's absolutely the plan, to sand a little bit of it. Sand it into submission. Or to some semblance of a pleasant shade. That's probably closer definition. Because I started getting a technique down for the other side of the channel. Do the same for this side. Because I can't stop. Oh, it's the same side. I'm being dumb. Anyway. That's a little closer. It's a little better. In terms of this sort of filling in. So what I was thinking of doing... yeah, I'm using spackle instead of clay, because that's what I had. Goes on pink, dries clear, or dries white, and then I can tell whether it has finished. And I'm going to make a little bit of a chunk right here, so that's where the leather straps can cling to. See if it works. I might be breaking things in an attempt to improvise. Just kind of smoothing it into a ring, and I will see what happens. So there's a little bit of a circle there. Yeah, I kind of like that. So as long as there's a little bit of a... Oh, that was the dog. You're doing great, sweetie. Spunkle. Sometimes they're just for you guys. That's okay. It's getting harder to smooth this out because it's getting a little dry, and then wetting my hand just smears. It doesn't actually sculpt it very well. This is not an ideal medium for sculpting, I understand. I did use it for my nail project though, and I did very much like how that came out. It works in a pinch. I'm just gonna leave that. I don't want to mess with that anymore. So yeah, I kind of really dig the idea of that sort of rounded ring around the handle there, or the cross guard. And I'm gonna do the little triangle on top. Oh, because then the ring will, okay, yeah, okay, that's fine. The ring will go in from that. Yeah. And I'll fix that, I'll clean that up, but that's a clearer visual design choice to do that. Do that. Okay. And then up a little bit. There we go. Looks good. I am happy enough with that. So yeah, so we've got a handle with a bit of a cross guard there over the blade, and then a little thing coming up from the handle base. I'm gonna have to let this dry before I play with it more. Or I'm gonna have to hold it while it dries. That's also an option. And because I'm a glutton for punishment, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna set up the other side a little bit better so that we have that little base built up. Be easy to work with all at once when I'm ready to sand it down. Make sure I wet it so that it smooths out, because it does need to be a little damp in order to take on a smooth texture on the get-go. I don't want to necessarily have to sand everything smooth. I only have, as I said, you work with what you have. You can't work with what you don't have, so I don't have a lot of sandpaper. I only have one grade of sandpaper, and it's a little on the rough side, so it's not really meant for fine detail work. So it's more of a getting the rough edges out and hoping for the best kind of sandpaper grade. So yeah, I'm gonna scooch this up a little bit, do one. I am finding that if I smear right at the end, it does help a little. And I'm going to do the same there to point that out a little bit more. It was a little, didn't go up hard enough. But that should do it. I can fix it a little as needed, but that should be a half decent shape. Okay, and just smear out the stuff that's kind of leaking. One of the downsides to using this stuff is because it has to be so wet in order to be molded. I do run the risk of getting the cardboard a little too wet, so I gotta be gentle. So basically, I'm just gonna be. I don't have a magic eraser, and I haven't tried anything. This is literally just, I had it in my closet, so that's what I was working on. But I will take a look. DAS air hardening clay. I will take a look. I have not gotten experienced enough with this stuff to use it well, or use, you know, the appropriate materials. I'm not that hung up about the handle being super great, because I am gonna be my hands are covered in clay and I can't put this down. I'm trapped. Oh no. Yeah, air hardening clay would be pretty good. I think that would work well. But yeah, so I'm going to let this dry. As you can see, the blade is pretty much dry. It's almost white. But so yeah, I've got these channels. I'm very excited about them. And we're gonna. I gotta stop touching it. God damn it. Sorry, I keep fiddling, and I need to stop. It's hard when you're holding it. You're like, I'm holding it. It's time to play around with it. Sorry, I tried to get away from the microphone with my thing here. But so I'm gonna keep this mic going, or not mic, fan. Goodness. And then I have these strips of leather that I'm going to use to wrap around the handle, but that is a ways away. What I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be, what do I want to do first? Oh, I'm going to be attaching these little guys, these little handle accents, gluing those on. Maybe smoothing them out a little bit with a little bit of this spackle just to fill in the cracks. And then I'm gonna sand, yeah, right. He doesn't care if I scritch him and I have clay on my hands. He'd be like, I don't care, let's do it. So yeah, the idea that I'm gonna sand this down after it's fully dry. You need to get a back scratcher before your nose. Just like a little handle thing that you can pick up. Everything's a nose scratcher. Everything's a back scratcher or anything when you need it. The real trick is when you have to sneeze and you're on mic. So when this is all dry, I'm going to sand it down a little bit. I'm going to fill in things that I need, but mostly I need to refine the edge here so it doesn't look like it's a bunch of cardboard. I want to try to point out this edge, and I might do that with a little more. Stop. Someone tell me to stop touching things. I realize that I should just do this now while I'm waiting for it to dry, because if I don't, I'll probably not get it done. What I should be doing is getting some more of this clay onto the edge, and then I'm going to... No, this is not fiddling. This is a new thing. This is not fiddling with the existing stuff. This was the blade edge that I wanted to work on. So taking my index finger and my thumb and trying, possibly failing, but trying to create a little bit more of an edge. It's going to probably look atrocious, but we're going to try. It's a little clumpy, but if I get it wetter, it'll smooth out. And again, keep my fingers very... I don't know how I feel about being called a spoinkle fiddler. Y'all, you know I'm making a knife, right? It's best not to make fun of the person making a knife. Anyway. Okay, this is looking pretty good, though. The edge is a little better. It's a little rough, but honestly, that would probably be fine. In terms of, like a crappy dagger. Having the edge a little rough is kind of painful to look at. Like, ew, I don't want that in me. Goodness. I think I don't want that in me is sort of the subtitle for any knife, to be honest, but yeah, the idea here was just to get rid of the corrugation. It was really obviously corrugated, and I didn't want that. It's gonna look pretty gnarly when I finish painting it, though. So yeah, what I'll probably end up doing is sandpapering that down a little bit, but it looks way better than the super duper corrugated edge that I had just then before I did that. So overall, I consider this a win. This is a semi-smart idea to create an edge. Make sure my fingers are damp because the clay has to be damp when I touch it in order to keep it from breaking. Okay, sorry, I lost my talking attention because actually in the zone a little bit. No! Get away. Get away from the channel. Okay, it's fine. I got it. Everything's okay. There we go. That's better. Alright, so it'll look a little better now. Sprinkle sponkle fit the... No. This idea has been cancelled. Sorry, it's off the air. Okay. So this blade is almost ready to be left alone, which is a beautiful place for a prop to be. Just leave it the hell alone. Not sure quite what I'm going to do with the tip of the knife. I might just leave a little extra clay there and then let it be there when it dries so that there's something to sand away to make the sharper edge. That's what I'm thinking right now. It's probably for the best. Sorry, I'm completely off camera right now. It's a little hard to get up in close and personal while also maintaining camera sight. So yeah, that looks almost right. Gonna put a little bit more here. Just rip it off because it needs to be made into a blade. More is better in this case because I can always sand it down if I need to, or rather when I'm ready to. All right. Yeah. So the order of operations here is going to be let this dry, then sand it, then, to be honest, probably seal it with some glue, but I'm not sure. If I don't feel like sealing it with glue, I might just go right to the spray paint phase. I have a base coat that I'm going to put in black, and then I have some taping that I'm going to do. I'm going to do the using masking tape how it's meant to be used. I don't know if it's going to work with spray paint, but the idea is you spray everything, then you tape what you want to have. You tape off what you want to spray a different color, and you spray that so that you don't peel and have rough edges. So we're going to try that. And then I'm going to take hand paint and add the details and clean up some of the edge differences. But this is not looking too bad. This actually might be serviceable. I'm excited. So yeah, that is the power hour, to be honest. I think we're pretty much done. Thank you guys so much for the accountability of waiting. I am going to have to hold this for a while, though, while it dries. But once it's done drying, then I'll start working on the task at hand, which will be to make this into a better shape. If I finish it this week, I'll show it off next week. I'll show you guys. Hopefully it'll look good. I'm very excited about it. The other thing I'm doing with this dagger is not just a shape test, also a color test, because my Witcher sword is going to be a dark metal. One of you can have it. I disowned the sponkle. Someone else can take that into their world. I cut the nail spackle tube too close to the bottom and the cap won't go on anymore, so I have a rubber band and plastic bag. You know. Yeah, go ahead. You can have it, Anne. You're welcome. Alright, so I am pretty much wrapped. We're gonna let this dry. It's gonna probably take a day to be fully dry. Maybe just a couple hours, actually. And then I will show you what it looks like next time. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining me for the Power Hour. I know we're a little late, but thank you so much for staying with us. I am so glad that y'all came to join me while I did a little bit of crafting. And yeah, so please have a wonderful rest of your rest of your day. So today's Wednesday. We're here same time every day, or every week, and then you're welcome for the soup, Jesse. And then on Thursday, we have No Brainer, our Matthew Siebert hosted trivia game. If you're interested in joining us for trivia on Thursday nights, please go check us out on the Discord channel. We take submissions, auditions, whatever. We would love to have people on board, so anybody who wants to join us, we are not just open to creators, we're open to fans as well who like trivia and want to join up. If you have a webcam and a microphone and an interest in trivia, you might want to join. So yeah, just ping us on Discord. And Friday we have Nerdsmith Sings Our Heart Out applications. Thank you, Kyle. We have Nerdsmith Sings Our Heart Out, our karaoke night with Twitch Sings, which I MC, with us and a bunch of our Nerdsmith creators singing and having a good time, goofy old time on Friday nights, 7 p.m. Pacific. And then on Saturday, we have Matthew Siebert again with Homebrew Studio, where he will be showing you how to make non-tangible homemade content for your tabletop role-playing games. Yeah. No, I have to end the stream with things that were, yeah, whatever. Anyway, please go check us out on Nerdsmith. I'll see you next week. Have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday. Have a wonderful rest of your week. Hope to see you soon. And please do me a favor and be good to each other. All right, everybody. Bye-bye.